Hi folks, it's always a pleasure having you look into this channel. I'm still your homeboy Zeal St. Martins. You know how we always do it. Promise made, promise kept. I'm with my homeboys and with the barman, Mr. Sadiq.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
most
doing.
welcome. And Charlie. These days, is there the actual way to doing things? Some ladies, you want to say ladies first, and they're like, no, 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 please. What guys can do, ladies can do. Anyways, in no particular order. You're most welcome here, join the house. Okay, today we said we are going to talk about sex, and that you earlier on had in the other clip you had my own take, but want to hear this barman and the lady actually do their own take. Do they believe in it? Do they not believe in it? Was their own onus, was their own opinion about it? Fine. Going to hear that today. We are talking sex. You know, three things for everything and for every and anything to be real, to be measured appropriately, there has to be three yardsticks to it. First, the action, then the circumstance, and the intention. The intention most times is just known to the doer of the action, so it's not very easy to judge. The circumstance is not exactly seen by many, so especially in this era of social media. But the action is so clear for everyone to see. Sex, is it good or is it bad? Especially with the religious coloration. And that's how we open. They are giving the pride of place to the lady. When you hear sex, sexual intercourse, what exactly comes to your mind?
Okay, when I hear sexual intercourse, next that comes to mind is a guy and lady getting laid.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this something that, in your own opinion, should happen between married couples? Okay, all right. Mr. Sadiq, I'm bringing this to your domain. Like, you think that sex is something that should? We know that it's not something that happens only for married couples. Is this something that should happen only amongst married couples?
In my opinion, yes, because we want to have a saner society.
I didn't quite catch that. Like, yes, why?
It's very simple. I mean, because it has to do with my beliefs.
Mm. And
Yes.
your beliefs is coming from where?
Um,
Religious beliefs or some societal belief?
no, my belief actually, I'm a Muslim from my name, and then my upbringing too. You understand? Besides that, even looking at from the social moral decadence that's going on in the society, I think if we can manage this promiscuity, manage it to a certain degree, to a certain level, I think we'll have saner
Okay,
society.
okay.
Yes.
I am going to take it out from there. I'll ask you some question. Do you think it's something that exactly should happen only between married couples?
Uh, well, my opinion is different. Um, I'm also from a religion, but I think in this case, this is something that is biological, is fundamental, and so people should be able to have sex, not kind of a random sex, but sex should be between two consenting adults. Yes, willing and at a particular age. I think that is okay to me because the consequence of keeping sex till marriage is there and people don't want to accept it. So I think sex should be something, yes, basically should be in marriage. But I put it up to you. Not everybody have the opportunity to be married, or as at when
The one wants to.
once want to marry. The issue of economic aspect of it is there. Marriage is expensive. Everybody knows. So I should deny myself sex because I don't have the opportunity to get married? No, I think that is wrong.
And in a society where persons begin to ask, what do you do for a living? The people where in spite of the female liberation and the quest for feminism, a woman sees a man as the caretaker of her needs. So it's not quite cheap.
It's not easy getting married. One,
Okay.
you don't just think of, okay, how much do I have in preparation for the marriage, but the most important thing is how much do you have to sustain the marriage.
Okay.
And that is where it becomes necessary that yes,
You should have plenty.
you should have sex. That okay, yes, but not jumping, not maltreating people in the name of having sexual pleasure.
Okay, let's look at it. We have so much. We asked the opener, should it be for marital persons who are married? And we are asking, what is your understanding of marriage? What is your understanding of marriage? You know, is it to bandy marriage up and down? What is your understanding of it? Let me cite this example. This girl, she's 45. She's never been married. She's never, in spite of the urge and everything, she's never had sexual intercourse. She's gradually approaching her menopause. She's afraid of aging alone with no helper, no spouse, no child of her own. But she says in all human wisdom, like, okay, fine, maybe I should just get down, have a child to call my own, so I don't die of loneliness in my old age. Should she, I'm taking that to the bride, should she decide to have sex, would it be deemed sinful, promiscuous, or something?
You see, someone like me, I'm trying to use it now. Whatever I want to do, I do it wholeheartedly. So
That includes.
I'm trying to lay a foundation to a point I'm trying to make. That is, if I'm to follow a religion, for instance, I don't pick and choose the rules of the religion that I follow. I follow everything about the religion. Am I making a point?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so now let's come back to this lady's issue now. She's 40, 45, approaching her menopause. She is afraid of not having a baby and then living loneliness her entire life, which is very sad if you ask me. But if I should get to this point of 40, she has never committed any adultery all her life, any fornication all her life.
She's been pure.
She's been pure. So if I believe that God gave me all this while from age 1 to age 45, and then I didn't commit this grievous amount of sin, then why should I start at 45? Am I sure I'm going to get 50? I'm sure I'm going to get...
There are no sureties or
there are no sureties about life.
Okay.
So if I could get 45 without committing this,
Okay.
so I'm of the opinion she keep herself.
Okay, fine. So we are going to talk about marriage. What is your understanding of it?
Okay. My understanding of marriage, marriage is that understanding between a man and a woman. Let's forget about religion. Let's forget about whatever civilization. I meet a lady today. For the fact that I say, okay, I'm attracted to her, and having some kind of affection towards her. To me, that is where marriage begins.
And that is retained. And such affection and attraction is retained.
Is retained and sustained.
Okay.
Marriage have taken place. Now, what follow up in our African society, it is when the two families are involved. But I see that just as a process. So from the very moment you see a lady and from your heart, deep down you feel you're attracted to her, and you wake up tomorrow, you feel same, and she agrees to you, marriage already started.
Okay, there's a whole lot in this, even in our traditional setting, and in the foreign religions that we've come to imbibe, when there is something called consummation. That is the sexual intercourse. When marriages are not consummated, they are simply deemed null and void. Do you think there must be something about this consummation, this act, which actually consummates marriage, else making it null and void?
Look, I keep asking this question. why do I get married in the first place? It's to procreate, reproduce. So if I'm not engaging in sexual intercourse in marriage, then why am I getting married in the first place? There is no need.
Okay, that is for you.
Yes.
So are you saying when you get persons only get married because they want to procreate?
No, I think that's the persons get married for a whole plethora of reasons. But I think procreation, I think, is the number one base.
Would that be true? Are you saying that, okay, fine, this person who gets married, you get married 1 to 3 years, 5 years into this business, you are not procreating, therefore the lady should go for another person or call it quits? Charles, would that be the number one reason persons get married? Because persons have gotten married and they say to themselves, hey, 2-3 years we are not having children. Persons do that.
That's few people, few persons.
Well, the thing is, a lot of things will have to come into place. Well, basically, most people will say, okay, kids or without kids, we're good. But in this part of the client, the problem is not from the couples. Like I used to say, this thing called love is a scam and doesn't exist.
I disagree.
We grow in love.
Okay.
We grow in love. You meet a lady, you're attracted to her, you get close, get married probably, and you feel she's that part of you that you can't leave anywhere. You've grown in love. And then suddenly the issue of kids, procreation come in. Now, to me, I think that shouldn't be much a problem. That shouldn't be much a problem. But remember, in our African setting, there is that connectivity we have with family, and that is on the basis of which marriage becomes something else. That family value, people place family value so high, and then the issue of kids come into place. 1 or 2 persons from the family say, hey, this lady, you're marrying a man, and it become an issue.
So I have a personal question for you. So what you're basically saying is, you can just get married and then you happily want to live your life and die without having anybody to continue from your lineage.
Okay, persons marry for different reasons. You said that. You just said that the number one is for procreation, and I'm saying that might just be for some persons like you, and for others it could be other reasons. But whether it is for procreation, and let's go with procreation, and we're asking, so you're married, and this woman is not producing, and there are a whole lot of persons who will be like, okay, fine, let me test. Let me test to know if the woman or the man is sound, and they are actually going to have this experience, this sexual intercourse experience, before either taking their vows or paying the dowry or bride price, whatever it is they believe in. Would these persons be wrong? We are looking at the circumstances now.
They are totally wrong.
Okay, so it should be kept.
See, even in the dawn of times, men value purity, submissive, and beauty.
Okay.
Yes. So if a girl decides to ramp up into wanting to be a whole, because as far as I'm concerned, when you sleep with more than 5, 6 guys, you are already in that. What's the difference between you?
Okay, but when you sleep with 2, it's manageable.
Sex is sinful, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
It's sinful totally, and we should abstain away from it. But I'm talking from a reality perspective now. In the society we live now, I don't think even our imams and our popes will come out to tell us categorically clear that I've not tested the forbidden fruit.
And that is the issue. Why do we have to see it as forbidden? Why do we have to see it as sinful? Why?
Because God said so in His holy books.
Okay. He said what?
Okay, let me
quote. I think Exodus 12:24, 14:20 for you. He said, stay away. I think it's one of the 10 commandments. No murder, no hatred.
It says, thou shalt not commit adultery.
Exactly.
That is what is in the commandments.
Exactly. So in in Islam,
Not thou shalt not have sex.
exactly. In Islam, you have a verse that said, "La taqrabu zina," stay away from sexual intercourse.
How is that even possible? Because sexual intercourse happens with you when you. And for me, I don't know. For me, marriage is when two things come into one.
Let's understand something.
Okay.
When you say marriage, which means you are legally and religiously and traditionally bind together.
No, you are saying too many things. You're saying too many things. You're legally, or traditionally, or religiously. This is where the African has fallen into a deep mess. Because a woman wouldn't marry you, and most men also, if one, they don't go to pay the bride price, one, two, they don't have the church announcement and ceremony, three, they don't go to the courts, they're married by the act, and that is a whole lot of confusion. He is confused as to his identity, she is confused as to who she is, and is messing up the whole thing. So which is marriage? And that was the question where we started. Which is marriage? Yes, Charles.
Now, let me repeat myself. Marriage begins the moment you feel you're attracted to this person.
Okay, that is attraction. That is attraction.
What if it is lost?
Even lust, you can't take away. I think you can take away the idea of lust, but I'm not going to intervene. So, Charles, go ahead. Like when you're attracted, you're attracted.
Yes.
You approach. Move on.
Okay. Now, it begins from when you're attracted to this person, and then you move closer to her. You want to be with her. That is marriage. Then the other follow-ups like payment of dowry, meeting two families, like I said, it's just a process.
Okay.
So
to actualize.
To actualize or to seal up the marriage process. So now the issue of sex now. I want to talk on that. Look, whether you like it or not, and I put it up to you, Mr. Sadiq. Not everybody. It's not everybody.
Okay, go ahead.
It's not everybody that can stand or withstand the urge of having sexual intercourse. And look,
without having brother.
Without having.
Okay.
Withstanding, not beating the urge. Yes. Beating the urge.
Beating the urge. And waiting till you get married. Now, whether you like it or not, it will get to a point you have that urge and you want to have sex. And as a realist I am, I think you need somebody that will calm your nerves.
Charles, I have a question, and I want this able men and lady to answer to me. If consummation is a very vital ingredient to the marriage act, can we not logically say that when a man has sexual intercourse with a woman, vice versa, that they are married? Okay. If consummation is a very vital aspect to marriage, conventional marriage, would we not say that when a man, at whatever point, has sexual intercourse with a lady and vice versa, consensual one, would we not say that? Can we not say logically that they are married?
You see, you're taking out the factor of society in your question. Because when you just limit to marriage at sex, then what's the difference between we and goats or cows?
And that is the aspect we share with animals. And that's where shame, decorum comes in. So that I'm asking because you talked about, procreation. You talked about it being sinful. And we talked about the example of the lady, and go on, forgetting that she has bodily needs, forgetting that her validation, a person's validation does not exactly, even when we are societal beings, does not come from what the other person thinks, but from standing objectively for what is right. So that is sex sinful in itself, or we have to consider the circumstances and the intention.
Yes, it's simple, but the circumstances and intention also matters. You see, I can't fault a lady if she's raped.
That is a crime.
But it's sex. Sex took place.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but she's raped.
There was no consent.
No, we are talking of circumstances here.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can take certain circumstances into cognizance and into concentration. So that she's raped. So or the guy might be raped too, because we have had those stories like that.
Yeah.
So that is also another circumstances. But in totality, what I'm saying is, if we want to have a look, let me put it this way. Family, the way I've seen, is the building block of community. Yes. The more you have a healthier family, the more you have a healthier society.
It's basic.
It's basic. So how do you do that? You have to protect the integrity of the family. When you protect the integrity of the family, then it's just like a chain reaction. Others will fall into place. This slay bitches we have. Look, the whole problem of our modern ladies today and modern guys we are all bringing today is Hollywood, as far as I'm concerned.
Hollywood.
Yes, Hollywood.
And Nollywood.
Nollywood.
And Kannywood and Gallywood.
Yes.
All the woods.
All the woods.
Okay.
All the,
The screen.
all the woods. Exactly, the screen. They tend to bring something that is alien to both our tradition and religion as we come to.
Is religion not alien to us, aside from the African traditional practice which affords us the right thing? When a traditional African does not have to do this church thing that consumes a whole lot of money after spending at the bride price, it does not need all of these going to the court, married by the acting. Sees a woman at a particular age, you're told go and marry, but most times you find out that when a lady, I'm all for education, but when a lady goes through university or tertiary institution, says, I want to finish, I want to serve, I want to work and give back my parents something, age begins to count. Like especially with the Nigerian system where a 4-year course could be done for 8 or more years, age counts. I'm not one for promiscuity, but I'm one for circumstance and intention. So all of this, they are foreign.
Yeah, I understand.
Western education came from with a foreign religion.
But Islam has been in contact with
that is a foreign religion that also came with its own ups and downs. So that there has to be maturity about this sexual thing. The person in question has to give her consent or his consent.
Now, I want to say something. And to me, I felt this is fundamental. Now, I read something somewhere where they say the moment you begin to have sex with somebody, you are sharing some kind of genes.
Your DNA is mixed.
Yes, your DNA is mixed, and it got to a point where a husband and a wife begin to have a kind of a look-alike kind of a thing.
Similarity
Yes.
in looks.
Now, to me, I think sex is one bond that connects people, and sex should be. To me, I think sex is something that has to do with.
I think it's marriage. For me, I think it's marriage.
Is where that is
the
meeting point.
We couldn't even define what marriage is.
That is the meeting point.
Well, I think for me, speaking for myself, I think when you have sex with a person,
You are married to that person.
you're married to that person, then there is conventional,
Then where is the responsibility?
a different ballgame.
Marriage carries all these things together.
No, wait.
Hold on. If I'm free to rack up this one, rack up that one, then why will I have to bring one in my room?
And that is
Under my
where
roof?
responsibility comes to play.
And marriage comes with responsibility.
Good.
So where are we leaving the responsibility?
Then
There's
there's something, and that is what
I think
this,
that definition is weak.
that is where and what this gathering wants to establish. Like, I have sexual intercourse with Joy, for instance. I am married to her.
No, you can't go close.
Okay. Okay, that's okay. Like, okay, fine. Well, how many ladies a man actually has? There is this soul titan, and the human person is not just a physical product that is just flesh. The physical brother that has the other side, the metaphysical side, the spiritual side. I didn't say religious side, just a spiritual side. And so that when you have this, it is mind-boggling. It is a mystery when semen and egg begin to form the human person, embryo, fetus, and human person. It is beyond science, and sometimes it doesn't happen. They say 1 million, 1 out of a million or more happens. Okay, fine. I think there is a mix. There is that union. There is that tie. And we should be able to differentiate that from the conventional marriage. The conventional marriage is when you begin to carry the wine, gourd of more, keg of palm wine, whatever it is, and say, this at the end. And we talk about settling. So you're married and divorced without the papers, and you're settling.
Okay, I understand your logic. Let me ask you this question: how do people get married in the olden days? Let's say in the contemporary African society.
Olden days, not contemporary, or vis-a-vis the contemporary society.
No, let's go to the olden days.
It was simply business. They understood that. They
understood our forefathers, for instance.
They understood the power of connection. They understood what marriage meant. So that before even when this idea of men, encouraging men to go out, sow their wild oats, is something that is societal inclined. Not every person does that. You want to say, okay, I see a lady, I like this lady. Then when persons grew of age, became of age, they're like, it's time for you to get married, because they understood this force, both for the ladies, both for the men. They helped the man get a place, a house. Community built a house for their own people. Age grades and all of these persons came together to say, okay, fine. They even went. Sometimes you start by running errands for the girl's family and all of those things. Persons knew their places and what they wanted. And when families saw young men doing all of those things, they exactly know where the one is coming from and what the one is in pursuit of.
And what was the punishment if you are caught racking up ladies during those days?
Beautiful. Then you are seen as a nobody. You are seen as an irresponsible person. And that is what we tend to forget these days. And that's what I'm asking. Do you think that conventional marriage is what marriage is? Charles?
Yeah.
Do you
I
think
think
conventional marriage? Oh, no. Let's take it to the lady. Let's take it to the lady.
Yeah, the lady has not been
Let's take it to the lady. Like, all of this, putting on white thing, which is very alien to Africa, and this is my part of Africa, and going and making vows, which most persons don't keep anyway. I'm not judging, but seeing the rate of infidelity.
I know of someone.
So we know that we don't keep these vows. What exactly would you consider to be marriage? Is it the ceremony? Is it the commitment? Is it the intercourse?
Okay. And while I was growing up, I think in my secondary school, my proprietor would say, once you have sex with somebody, you are attached to that person. Like, you share half of the things the person shares spiritually. If the person has any cause, like you tend to gather that cause like that. So I feel, and we ladies, like few percent of ladies believe that once, or let me use the virgin as an example. Once a girl is being this virgin by a particular guy, she just wants to be with the guy.
Okay.
Yes, she just wants to continue with the guy, live her life with the guy, everything. It takes just few ladies that actually are killed their conscience or something.
No, you is an emotional attachment.
Yes.
Yeah, ladies come with emotion and guys come with.
That's like whenever that guy that breaks her virginity just leaves and she's like she's heartbroken and she just wants to like go to like stuff like
the
that.
one's coming to an end.
Yes, but it's just few ladies that, let me say, you've done it the first time, you've done it the second time, no, the same person, and you just know that sex is a pleasurable something. You just have to have.
No, you have to grow it. Whatever it is you're doing,
you graduate.
That's what you're saying.
Okay, you
Then
graduate.
you see, it brought us. I'm not trying to stop the point she's trying to make. It brought us back to the point I was making earlier. I said, look, I was saying earlier, when a lady gets married as a virgin, you will have a more saner society, you have a more happier marriage, because she just confirmed what I'm saying. She wants to be with the guy that she sleeps with the first time. She doesn't have to know which one has 9 inches, which one has 7 inches, which one has 6 inches, because she doesn't even know that. She doesn't even care. All she cares about is be with the person that the virgin had in the first place. So if we continue allowing social Western way of life impact our lifestyle, because all this I have to finish through university is alien to us.
Okay.
I think that's what is prolonging these marriage processes. And once the lady gets into the institutions, nobody can predict what happens at the end of the day.
Okay. I also think that, okay, in line with whatever your head teacher, the headmaster or headmistress said, you know, these things has nothing to do with faith. They have everything to do with logic and reasoning. It's not rocket science. Okay, a guy or a lady, whichever, has venereal disease, sexuality, or not, has venereal, yeah, as that goes through the genitals. You pick it, the other person picks it. It's as simple as that is marriage. There's sharing, there's connections like Bluetooth. Whether it is a virus, you pick it. So also, I think that is it. But going beyond that, is sex sinful? And I start with Sadiq. Is there anything about it that is sinful?
Look,
That actually, let me put it clearly, is there anything about sex that offends God and makes him less God? Or is it something that is given for our own benefit, for our own good? Like telling a child, this is fire, however alluring, however sparkling it may be. You touch it, it's going to hurt you, it's going to burn you. So stay clear. And the child, no, the glow is awesome. Touches it, gets burnt.
and then he won't go tomorrow.
Is there, and it doesn't go tomorrow. So is there something about sex that actually makes God less God? So as to qualify for being sinful.
I am grow up in a religion where I don't ask questions of whatever it is.
And this is a rating series where we question status quo. What we
Yeah,
are doing
yeah,
is
I think-
questioning
yeah,
status quo.
Yeah, that's what we. I think that we are tilting toward that direction now.
That's what we are doing.
Yeah, that's the direction we are going. So I think my own religion upbringing, I don't question whatever.
Okay, fine. Could you just remove your religious cap and put on a thinking cap?
No, being religious doesn't mean you're not thinking.
Really?
Because-
No.
Yes.
In religion, people don't think. Religion is belief.
Yeah, is see.
So could you just, take off the religious cap and put on your thinking cap, for once, for the purpose of this discussion. Is that even possible?
Let me come in.
Very
Let
possible.
me come in. There is a particular, how do I call it? A prayer in the Catholic Church. And they say, even our holiness and whatever do not add to God, but it it helps us towards our salvation.
Okay.
So if I'm going to use that prayer, that part of the prayer, to answer your question, then I will say sex doesn't affect God, but rather we were talking about circumstances, we were talking about intentions, and we're talking about
the act itself.
the act itself. So that is where I think we'll have to fall back to these three determinants. Now, sex doesn't affect God for being God, but there are these are things that comes with emotions, right? Now, you are not legally married to a lady. You have sex with her. Who knows? Somebody, somewhere, her parents, her suitors are angry. To me, that is where I'm seeing it.
And whatever you did to Tao will be done to you. So,
And then God is also interested when we're looking at that relations from the religious perspective. Then we would say God is interested in my own, or even morally, or physically. Logically, my relationship with you matters. So that is where I'm seeing sex being a sin. All right.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
on the normal ground,
Mhm.
I think sex is something.
Okay. Using the determinants, Mr. Charles, using the determinants we've been mentioning, circumstances, intention, and the act. Now we are focusing on the act. I think in the next cut we should be talking about the circumstances, so that making it a crime, because even in a conventional marriage we could have sexual crimes. Okay, but today we are looking at the act and how, and from the religious angle, which they say sin. Right? If sin is what affects God, our relationship with Him, but sex is what physically, materially speaking, because it's a material thing, which is not bad in itself, but the intention and all. Let's say I am talking with you and I'm deceiving you, and I know from day one when I say I'm attracted to you, it's a lie. I'm just lusting, plain lusting after you. But I tell you all the sweet things I think you want to hear just so I could get you laid and all. That's deceit. That's irresponsible. And when, for however, whatever the means of protection you use, maybe something goes wrong and there is a resultant effect, you begin to say, I don't know you. Never you call this line again. You block the one on every aspect. I mean, that is irresponsible.
That's horrible.
That's horrible. And you have actually shortchanged the life of another person. So
What if it's your sister, somebody that did that?
cool. And that is why we begin to look at from the point of not just the act, but the intent, the mindset. It becomes evil, it becomes a crime. And that's what we shall be looking at next. It becomes a crime because from the outset, you were never responsible, you were never true, you were never
So
clear with the person.
Now, like I was saying, a particular part of a prayer say, our worship does not add anything to God, but it promises
So, can we not say it's not
profits us for salvation. So if that prayer is valid, then our worship adds nothing to God.
You add nothing and you reduce
But
nothing.
it profits you for your own salvation.
So let me
just
me-
like the child you tell, don't touch this fire, and the
Please,
child
for your
touches.
own good.
Yeah,
So
I know,
you
I understand where
contract,
it's
you
coming from.
contract,
So
you
if we-
contract an
if-
illness,
if we're looking at it logically now.
which is what we are doing.
Yeah, no,
No, don't say if. We are looking at it logically, sir.
Okay, so if you're looking at things logically, since it doesn't add anything, it doesn't reduce anything.
Mm-hmm.
It rather profit you.
Yeah, let me bring it down to us humans today.
To add
Yes, if I should build a house today,
mm-hmm.
filled with all the nourishments of life, and then tell you to stay in the house and not touch this, not touch that, not touch that, and then you went ahead and do it. Does it change? Does it add or change anything? It doesn't. But if I keep you in the house, who goes back to the street? It's you at the end of the day.
I think your example is may not, I mean, with due respect, not so adrem, because when you burn down your house, for instance, you have no option but to live outside, and we are speaking the same language, because you have been given shelter. And one thing we are not told, I mean, talking about shelter, one thing we are not told from the outset, I think we are being deceived, we are being lied to, or we are led to discover this truth ourselves. When we talk about the basic necessities of life, right from the social study days, we are told food, shelter, clothing. Take you back to Big Brother Niger House. You're giving food, you're giving shelter, you're giving clothing. What next comes to your head?
Sex.
Promiscuity.
Not promiscuity, I wouldn't use that word. Because promiscuity is when you are not able to stick with one person.
Yes.
That's promiscuity. So, but if you're sticking with one person and your intention, you have a sincerity of purpose and heart, I don't think it's sincerity. Even when
If you have sincerity,
then you're married to that person.
That's what we are saying. They're married to her.
You're married to that person, and that is not conventional marriage, because in the conventional idea,
No,
you've not gone
I
married
think-
and
no,
all of
I
that.
think-
Anyway, back to what I'm saying. So we are led to actually discover this fourth and most basic necessity of life, which has in its nucleus the continuity of life: sex, sexual intercourse.
No, I think it's because it's sacred. That's why it's
Shelter is not sacred.
no.
Even animals build their nests and
No,
all dig holes in the ground.
No, the food, shelter, and what again?
Clothing.
And clothing. You need that as a basics of life before you move to any other thing.
Okay.
Yeah, without that, you're not going anywhere.
But you have to be for you to be clothed.
No, you have to build all those things.
You have to be a
Yes,
human
yes,
person
yes, yes.
to be clothed, to
Because-
have shelter. That is to say, it is the human person, the being, that actually counts first.
I agree with that.
So what I'm saying is, I think they found out that they made a mistake in the era, so that today we are talking about sexual education, sexual studies, and all whatnot from the primary. I'm not judging whether it's good or bad from that age, but there has been a discovery that was erroneous. As such, correction effort is being made to correct. My whole point is, in this business, God is not affected as much as, it's not in any way affected as much as these conditions are meant for our well-being, for our own relationship, smooth relationship in this business of living. So I think, and I stand to be corrected by this Barden and the lady, I think that sexuality, sexual intercourse has nothing to do with sin, and is in no way sinful, as much as its abuse could lead to crime.
Do you believe in
Vice. Yes, I believe in God. Why do you ask? Don't you?
I do.
So
I do. But I don't
I know, and I think that when religion comes in, religion takes what is beautiful, distorts it, mystifies it, and packages it in the form of fear, and bringing God into this general overseer that loves it all. You must do this, you must do that. No, I don't think God is that way, and that's why we are having this discussion. Do you think that God is that way? That, okay, your sin therefore threw you to hell because you did this, you did that, you were not conventionally married, and you had sexual intercourse, throw him into hell? Maybe the hottest
Well,
part.
I don't think there is any chapter, I stand to be corrected, in the Bible that says you must go before a priest and you must pronounce your husband and wife before you are married.
Ceremony. I think that's your
I don't think
ceremony.
there's a chapter in the Bible that says
There
that.
is no.
So we're already established our point.
That what is the point being established? That is not
That was-
necessary.
there's
That,
no
we-
necessary.
that,
There's
that
no necessary
marriage
to-
happens the moment you
No,
get down with a lady.
not in Islam.
And that is religion.
No.
That is another religion with
Yes.
its cumbersomeness, with its weight, and I don't want to talk about that because it has many things that when we begin to dissect and break down, you find many things that are so contradictory
And inconsistent.
and which deals towards even crime, which is what we shall be talking in the next session. So for today, for now, let us restrain ourselves to understanding whether the sexual act is sinful in itself.
Like in Islam today, once you identify, let's say, I saw joy.
You said no joy. Okay, so
It's okay. It's okay.
so it's okay for you. Why do you excuse in yourself what you don't permit in others? But continue, Sadiq. It's your priority.
I saw joy. I like joy.
And your hands are actually behind her.
It's allowed. It's
It's
allowed.
allowed.
It's allowed. Once
Okay.
joy is not complaining,
Yeah,
I
she's
think
not
it's
complaining.
okay.
So once I saw her, I liked her, and then I want to be with her. So I think the lay down processes is this. I go and meet her husband. I go and meet her father. And then I told him I like his daughter. So now, that was ideally how it should be. Now the father will now make research on the kind of person I am in the society. Maybe he might say I should come back to him in 5 days or 6. So after making all those...
Or in a month.
No, not month.
Okay.
It can't be that long.
Okay.
He will consult the daughter first.
Okay.
You know this person? Yes. Do you like him? Yes. Okay. Then he might ask around little cliques, I hang out with. Is he an armed robber? Does he have any issue? Does he behave like this? Once I pass on his checklist, and he will call me, he said it's okay. I can start coming and...
You can start full dating.
No, not dating. Dating in the sense of 21st century is not dating of what those holy books are talking about. Because you take a girl out.
Oh, you're coming from the angle of the holy book.
Yes. Now, no, I'm talking of the process of the holy book, how it's stipulated.
Okay, there are too many holy books. Which
Yeah.
of them are you talking about?
The-
The
the-
Veda, the Upanishad, the
No, the
Bible,
Quran,
the
actually.
Book of Mormon, the Quran. Which one?
The Quran, actually.
Okay.
So I now start coming to their house. That is why, because of the grievousness of sex in the Islamic religion,
Mm.
That is why you see when a guy is talking to the other sex, it's either her head is down or his head is up. They don't even have an eye-to-eye contact.
Are you talking? How old is this lady in question? Do you actually go to her and make your intentions known, or do you go to the father first?
No, I might have to see her first before I feel the attraction.
So no, you've seen her. Do you
Yes.
go to her first and say, "I feel this way towards you," or you go to the father? You
No,
skip the
there is a
person in
circum-
question.
let's say there is a circumstances that brought us together, maybe work relation or maybe class relation.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and my intention was marriage. That
Will
was
you
why I
tell
had to
her
go.
first or the parents?
No, let's say there is a circumstances that brought us together.
Of course, there is always a circumstance that will bring you together.
No, there is marriage that the package wife and brought to you at home, you don't even know her.
Okay, that
Yeah,
does happen.
it's practiced in some parts of Nigeria, even up to today.
Okay.
Just call her and say they have arranged wife for you. So, and there's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, there's
There is just nothing you can do.
Yeah,
Is that tradition or religion?
No, that is traditional. No, but being the obedient son of your parents, you have to.
Then you're not of age.
No,
Because if you're of age and you're responsible, because that can only be obtainable when you are irresponsible, they feel like you're getting too old, then you can't even make right decisions for yourself. Then they say you have no choice. But for a full-fledged adult to be confined to not having a choice, that is erroneous.
Because it's not happening in your society.
No,
Yeah, it's
no.
erroneous. I agree, it's erroneous. I totally agree, it's erroneous.
I can
I
understand
think
someone.
when you watch Hausa movies these days, these are the kind of things they try to educate people about. That those kind of practices should be stopped. That is something.
And that is exactly what we are doing, so that you begin to see.
There's something called attraction.
This discussion,
that
Sadiq,
those people, yes.
this discussion is happening because we don't know who might be viewing this clip.
Exactly.
So, you want to do something, you're convinced that you are doing it. One, you are reasonable about it. You are logical about it, and you know that should there be consequences, because for every action there is a consequence. So you are ready
And
to
living
bear.
with the consequences
You know,
is
when,
the hard part.
I mean, a girl once asked someone who is very close to me, "Are you ready to be a daddy?" And that is one question that maybe is very germane. Like, if you're a guy and you really want to get down with a lady, you ask yourself, are you ready to be a daddy? Perhaps you are not ready. Is the lady in question ready to be a mom? Perhaps she's not ready, but you understand that the both of you are not ready, but you want to. That's a different ballgame. But if your idea is to, run roughshod over somebody, take advantage of somebody, then you know that you don't need sin to know that you are in error. You don't need a preacher to start telling you of God who will punish you, God who will... No, just know that you could pick up some things, diseases, and that's you. That's your consequence. You could even die before you finish, you start what you call your purpose in life. That is the consequence. So for every action, there is a consequence, and religion has nothing. In fact, if religion will tell us these truths without the fear, or is trying to instill fear, trying to butter it with so much sin that does not affect God, because these rules, regulations, we call commandments, these directives are meant for our own good and not for the good of God, because whether we are or not, God is. Whether we do rightly or wrongly, God is. It does not make him more God or less God. No, but it does affect us. And it's on this note I want to say a big thank you to the guys in the house, except they'll maybe have a word to say before we draw the curtain. Sadiq, Joy, you will have to say something. Charlie, say something before we draw the curtain. Because when next week we shall be talking sex crimes. And the sex lies anyways.
All right. In this case, I think share your own school of thoughts that
Thank you, sir.
that we should be able to understand that there are consequences to these actions, and of course, inactions.
Okay.
Not just actions.
Okay, actions and then actions.
Inaction too has consequences.
Okay.
So you decide you want to have sex with a lady, you see how you like her, I think.
Or the lady wants to have sex with you.
You should know from the onset that yes, there are a lot of things. And of course, I'm looking at it from the angle that it is those actions, it is those consequences that are the point of concern at this point. Not just the act.
Okay.
The consequences that followed
The aftermath.
act, yes, should be the very point of concern.
No.
So to me, that's my take.
Okay, thank you so much.
I think the lady should go first.
Okay, you're sitting to the lady, okay?
Okay. I believe everybody or everyone on this planet Earth has something he or she believes on or believes in, actually. And like you said, there's consequences to everything we do, either good or bad. So if me, I want to have sex, I should know that there's a consequence behind
The action.
the action.
And
If
then
you don't want to, there are still consequences behind everything. So I
Yeah, you
So
might have-
just bear in mind the consequences.
Yes.
you are having blurry vision.
Okay, I'm not going to add to that. Okay, fine, Mr. Sadiq.
No, my take on this is this. How, from whatever angle you want to come from, I still believe sex is a sin. And
Okay.
we should abstain away from it.
Okay, okay.
Outside marriage, actually.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you watch to this point. I know it's taking your data, it's taking your time, I hope we made a little sense. And I want to take this opportunity to thank my elegant Lady Joy. It's been a pleasure having you around. And Sadiq, my guy, thank you for coming around. And Mr. Charlie, my Ghanaian friends, we say, ciao. Charlie. It's been a pleasure having you guys come around. I'm still your homeboy, Zeal St. Martins. I hope this made a little sense, however much we've tried talking around the subject. If it did make sense to you, like it, okay, share with your friends and click on the subscription button and notification bell so that when next we drop something, it will get to you straight up. I want to also use the opportunity to thank the man. Most times we tend to forget thanking the man behind the camera. I want to say thank you to the man behind the camera.
Yeah, shout out
Thank
to
you all of you.
you.
All right, till next we come your way. You take care. Enjoy a lovely day. Ciao.